Do you remember the story by Robert Louis Stevenson entitled Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde? Dr. Henry Jekyll was a respected member of the community, a gentleman in everyone's eyes. But Dr. Jekyll had a dark side and kept things hidden. He knew he needed to keep up a good reputation in the community, but he also had a very strong desire to live outside the law, to be engaged in immoral behavior. So Dr. Jekyll developed a plan. Late one night in his medical lab, he developed a special potion that would allow him to transform his physical features so that he would look like a totally different person. With this new identity, which he called Mr. Hyde, Dr. Jekyll was free to move about the city, doing all kinds of terrible things. No one knew that Mr. Hyde was really Dr. Jekyll. At first, Dr. Jekyll could control his reaction to this secret potion, but over time, the evil Mr. Hyde began to take over, and soon Dr. Jekyll completely disappeared. The only thing left was terrible Mr. Hyde. In telling this story, Robert Louis Stevenson is helping us to be aware of the battle that goes on within each person. All of us carries around a little bit of Mr. Hyde, our sinful nature. And if we don't pay attention to our true character, the person God created us to be, then we can lose our way and evil will take over and soon dominate our lives. In today's second reading, St. Paul wants us to know that the primary challenge in life is to guard against sin. Deep in our heart, we know what is right and what is wrong, and yet we are so easily tempted to reject God by falling into the need for immediate gratification or self-satisfaction or the need to be in control. Thankfully, God always sees the person that He's created us to be, despite our weakness. God loves us and invites us to share in His compassion and in His mercy. In today's gospel, we hear that the devil tempts Jesus 3 times and in 3 ways. First, to seek immediate gratification by turning rocks into bread, because he was hungry after 40 days of being in the desert. Second, to test God's promise of protection over Jesus. He was to throw himself over the high tower, the parapet. And then finally, the temptation to seek worldly wealth and power by receiving all of the worldly kingdoms. Maybe none of us have wandered in a desert for 40 days, but we have all had desert times in our lives. Times when you felt lost, times where you felt empty inside, unfulfilled, times when you felt disconnected from God. At these times, Satan comes with a perfect plan. He knows our weaknesses, and that is where he tempts us. In our first reading, the devil tempts Eve to think she knows better than God. And in the gospel, the devil tempts Jesus to get rid of his hunger by turning stones into bread. What hungers are we tempted to feed when we get lost on the internet for hours, or when we are unfaithful to a commitment that we've made? What hole in the soul do we try to fill when we give in to temptations to let material things dominate our lives, when we gossip or when we criticize others? Consider the ways we have given in to temptations to control others by nagging them, seeking revenge, or holding another person in unforgiveness. The devil says to us, do whatever you need to do to get rid of the pain. Do whatever you need to do to get rid of the emptiness. Do whatever you need to do to get rid of the fear in your heart. The danger is our actions can easily become habits, and all too often we soon become another Mr. Hyde, an image of ourself that is far removed from the person that God created us to be. Just like Jesus, we must refuse the temptation to be in control and to trust in God alone to provide for our need. There is only one way to be free of the sins that so easily hook us, and that is to open our hearts to God's saving grace. Only by looking to Christ, who is the new Adam, can we escape the curse of the old Adam. There is nothing that any of us can do on our own to free ourselves from the power of sin at work in our lives. Positive thinking won't do it. Personal discipline won't do it. Blaming someone else won't do it. Relying on self-control won't do it. All of these efforts will fall short. Christ Jesus is our only hope. A strong Christian is a weak person who relies on God. Christ is our salvation. When we accept God's gift of grace that comes to us from Jesus, it is then that we are set free from the power of sin through the beautiful sacrament of reconciliation. On Ash Wednesday, we were confronted with the sober truth of our sinful human nature. The ashes we received reminded us that we are guilty of sin and we need God's mercy. Thanks be to God, this is not the end of the story. For it is in and through the sacrificial death and resurrection of Jesus that we encounter the true mercy of God. And we are reminded once again that God is God and we are not. Today we look to Jesus as our role model, one who is tempted in every way, yet remained faithful to the Father. May Psalm 51 be our humble prayer throughout this Lenten season. A clean heart create for me, O God, and a steadfast spirit renew within me. Cast me not from your presence, and your Holy Spirit take not from me. Give me back the joy of your salvation, and a willing spirit sustain within me.